the line, I liked the music, I liked everything about what she did, and so I decided to look for the producer. And I walked up to the producer, and I was told I couldn't see him, and they told me I should come early in the morning at EMI. It was called EMI Music then. It was at Oregon. That's where you have Daystar now, Daystar Church. And so I went in very early in the morning from Ikorodu, where I used to live with my parents then. Walked up to him in the morning, and he was awed by his presence, very awed by his presence. And I said, "Good morning, sir. I like what you did for Ivan Maha. I would like you to help me become a singer as well." And he looked at me and said, "You just finished secondary school?" I said, "Yes." "So what makes you think singing is for the likes of you? Why don't you go get a job as a clerk or something?" And I was so demoralized. I was so demoralized. I cried all the way home. I was so angry. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to talk to anybody and all that. And well, years later, I had an album called Dreams, released on the Premier Music label, who had just metamorphosed from being Polygram Records then and became Premier Music. And then I had become a big name and become, well, so to speak, in the parlance, I'd become a star. I'd become a star actor. I'd done Silent Night. And I was very, very big at that time. And guess what? I went to the housewarming ceremony of one of my big friends then. He had asked me to come. I went there with my friends, a retinue of friends. And we got there, and as I was entering the place, I just heard this music blaring and somebody calling my name and singing my name. And I stopped in shock, and I looked. It was the person who had many years ago told me, "What makes you think singing is for the likes of you?" And I looked up to God and said, "God, you're the greatest humorist." But see, I never let that get to me. I never ever let that get to me. Or become arrogant or become complacent or whatever, or become pig-headed. But I just decided there and then that what I will always do for young talent is to encourage them, whatever it is you want to do, and you believe in yourself, 1,000%, you believe in yourself, I'll be there to back you up. I'll be there to help you fight and push your cause through.
Wow, man, I went through a whole lot to be Nino. But one of the things I like to talk about is, not quitting. Before coming into Nollywood, I was a music executive. I ran a record label called Diesel Music for about three and a half years. And doing that, I lost everything I had, and I had an option to either go back to America or be here in Nigeria and still trying to find what to do. And the fact that I didn't quit is the only reason I'm here today. Thank God for grace. If I had left at that time where I felt, there was no way to go, I wouldn't be sitting here today. But the fact that I kept on going, and I was never scared of starting all over, being a beginner. I started over, and look at where I am now. So one thing I would like to advise my fans and talk to them about is, about never quitting. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win. So stay hustling, stay going, and keep God first. We will prosper.
Life is not a bed of roses, but also understand that roses have thorns. So as beautiful as rose flower is, and as luscious as the green leaves of rose flower is or are, there's always the thorny side of it, so it can be pricked. So I started very, very small, and I've been climbing since then. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But when you fall, you get up again and start all over again and begin to trudge on. But always learn from your mistakes. That's all I can say.
My guest on this episode is one of the respected entertainment lawyers in Nigeria, Yemisi Falaye.
Creatives are a special breed. If you're not passionate about them and what you do for them, you're going to get frustrated. For now, there was nothing like law in the entertainment industry. People didn't know that they have to document their piece of work. I can do beats, let's do beats. I can sing, let's vibe, and that's it. Some people still don't get it. They will still wait to get into trouble before they come to you. Once you sign an agreement, you are absolutely bound by the provisions of the agreement. People think Zlatan is this crazy guy that just likes to make trouble. But the contrary, Zlatan is a church boy.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Is it me, or does it feel like we're being spoiled for choice on topics to advocate on? There's so much going on this year.
I've spoken with a house help before, And I just asked, what's your name? She mentioned something. I said, so is that really your name? Then she laughed, and then she mentioned her name. You can imagine the indignity.
Yeah.
That you even take the name away from that 15-year-old. She has never stepped in a school.
Wow.
At age 15.
Yeah. So why would a graduate want to ride Okada?
But in Italy, they ride motorcycles up and down.
The rats that go over the grains, where they dry the grains, it's the same gari you buy from the market. So it's not that you in wherever you live, I don't know, the highbrow area, Banana Island.
Still buy them.
You buy that
make your own gari.
It will still come to you.
The difference is with
Unless you
Lassa
cook
fever,
it.
you're meant to cook it.
Yeah, but you know,
really
people
well.
drink gari.
Yes, that's
okay, the rich
problem.
don't drink gari.
No, I think beans and gari.
Yes, no,
Yeah, they
I
go
know when
together.
No, you know,
I soaked
you
my
buy
gari.
that.
I
You
was
buy
in
that
boarding
one that they
school.
sell in small bag.
No fewer than 53 spouses have been allegedly killed in Nigeria by their partners from November 19, 2017 till date. This statistics is from the Daily Trust.
Domestic violence has been grossly underreported. Most of these cases are either taken to alternative resolute dispute,
Family,
get
get
involved. Family
involved.
court. It does not address the issues. Most people that do violently abuse their partners either saw it growing up or they were victims of it.
I don't know what the Quran says about it, but in Christianity, it frowns against divorce or, leaving your husband. And because of that, a lot of people who find themselves in such strong domestic violence or abuse, they're like, I can't leave my husband. My religion is against it. So it becomes a huge contender with their freedom or with, them opening up.
For people like that, what they do is alternative dispute resolution. They sit the husband down, they sit the wife down, they ask them, may we know your issues? But we Yorubas have this saying that husband and wife matter.
Don't put your
Don't go there. Because when they settle it, you become the enemy.
I think
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way dey inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every go enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am your host, Osayuwa Mesale, and I am joined by my amazing anchors. We have Uti and Sanze in the building. Hello. All bright and yellow.
As I usually do. You know, I like my bright colors.
Yeah, she's like the brightness to our black. Well, I love my black.
I love black as well. Something wrong with black, but you know, sometimes you just need a little sunshine.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you did bring it. We all do. We all do. How was your 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, right? 2 weeks. I've been good. So a little bit of a health scare, but we're fine.
Awesome. Thank God.
And then stressful week.
We had a lot of health
And the traffic isn't helping.
Well, I think I enjoyed the break though.
Well,
no, I missed being on the show. But I know what you mean about sometimes you just need to take a break, recharge, relax.
Yeah.
So I find that it's even though, so for me, right, I took the time off. I was forced, my body forced me to take the time off. And then I get to work and I don't remember taking a break. So yeah.
I get that a lot. So here's what
it's good to have both of you back. Though.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. So here's what we found as today's quote. The biggest barrier for women is the thought that they can't have it all. That's from Cathy Engelberg. Auntie?
Don't believe it. Can't have it all.
I think,
Engelberg.
Honestly, I've had a lot of people, as a young lady in entertainment who is not married and you're ambitious and you're working hard, people are always like, are you sure you can do all these things? See, settle down and marry and do all that. And I'm like, when I get married, fantastic, but until then, I'm not going to wait for a man to validate me. I believe that I can have it all. It is my job to work hard and make myself as valuable as I can. You know, I believe it, but most times the environment forces me to think again, can I really have it all?
So my opinion is the opposite. I really don't think that you can have it all. I think that there's the illusion that you have it all, that you have it all under control, but something will suffer. Either it's you, either it's your family, it's your career, it's your business. I think that myth, will I call it a myth? Well, this statement that says I can do it all, the concept of work-life balance and all of that, I don't agree. I just feel like, you know, one day you'll either have a meltdown or something will happen with maybe your child or your husband. Something will happen and you just realize that you're hanging on by a thin, you know, thread.
But
we are superwomen. Yes.
I think the fact that maybe you have a meltdown at some point doesn't mean it means it's just a bus stop on the road. So I think that what we're looking at is when you go through your life
and
on the long run,
yeah.
Are you going to look back and say, I really had it all?
Yeah, so, and I think that's where most people who live their lives thinking they have it all, it's at that point you realize that something suffered. So the concept for me is, I'll give an example. I have a long day of meetings on Monday and it's my son's birthday. I've had to accept today that I won't be at my son's school. Somebody else is going to have to deliver the cake. I won't be there. So how do I make this weekend about his birthday? So I think that when you are truly honest with yourself and dive into it, something is suffering. We have the opportunity now to do a lot. The world allows us as women to do a lot, but I think something will suffer.
Well,
oh dear.
Today we're talking about building a lasting career and identity. We have experts to speak on this topic, but first, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll see what we found in the news. Please stay with us.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns,
whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
You're still watching Ways now. Today is Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Every year on February 7th, individuals and organizations across the nation participate in National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day to promote HIV prevention, testing, treatment, and community involvement in Black African American community. So, what do you ladies think?
Well,
are we still having this? What's it called?
I think we're lucky that in our generation, in our time, that HIV has been curtailed in such a way that it's almost not a scare anymore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop you from, knowing your your status.
You know your status as
I don't think
I haven't. Okay. Why do you have to put me on the spot? I haven't done
I
an
have to
HIV
put you on
test
the spot because I don't know my status as of today.
Last I checked was like 2 years ago.
That's it.
So I make it a habit to check every 6 months.
Oh my God.
And I think that because we've made living with HIV, yes, we're doing a lot better in terms of stigmatization. I think the antiretroviral drugs, we've made life with HIV almost normal.
Yeah.
But it's important to have days like this because you forget. The numbers, if you actually go and research it, the numbers are still going up. People are
still getting infected.
So it's great to have days like this where people can actually focus and say, you know what, let's pay attention to this thing because it is. In fact, I think I was reading somewhere where it says the numbers are still at epidemic level.
Absolutely.
But because of that lack of awareness, and it's something that people still really need to drive. I mean, it's so cheap to get tested. It's so
very easy and cheap.
You make it a habit every 6 months, just like a health check. We really should.
Yeah, we should. So talking about health, Uti, what did you find for us in the news today?
Okay, so I think that if anybody's like me, I've been following this coronavirus story tooth and nail.
Are you scared about it?
So, you watch the news and you get really sort of into a state of panic. And I find that every time I watch the news, I need to pray to just calm myself down because you really get into a frenzy. I think what scares me so much about corona is the fact that there's still so many questions. With Ebola, we knew what it was. With SARS, we knew what it was. This morning, I remember turning on the news and it said 3 people in Hong Kong. And this is not mainland China now, in Hong Kong, they've been diagnosed with the disease. They haven't come across, or they haven't come into contact with anybody from mainland China. And the only thing is that they all live in the same apartment building. So again, what's the cause?
What is causing the spread?
Exactly. Yeah. But the story really is capitalism at its best in Nigeria. So those face masks usually cost 350 naira for a pack of 50. But in Nigeria now, they're starting to go for as much as 1,300 naira. So that's a 271% hike in the price. Capitalism, huh? People making profit on just
of course, people will make profit on all of this
on everything that is possible. So really, and there was even the talk somewhere in the story that was saying that we've even because companies in China are starting willing to pay dollars for us to export, that there's also that people might be exporting so that if, God forbid, it ever comes to Nigeria, we might not even have enough of these resources to protect ourselves.
Well, I think very soon sanitizers will join that list.
Remember Ebola?
Yeah.
Sanzi, so what's your story?
Okay, so I am going away from health to entertainment. Obviously, for actors and people in the entertainment circle, this is our awards season, the SAG Awards, the Oscars, and right now AMVCA, which is African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, is coming up this March. So yesterday they released the nominees, and it's great to know that Nollywood is doing well. Like, we took most of the nominations as usual, and so when it comes to other parts of other fields, I don't know how Nigeria is doing, but in the creative industry, we are the giant. So I just want to applaud the filmmakers in Nigeria. Living in Bondage, King of Boys, Shola Shobowale, a lot of them got nominations, and I'm quite frankly, a lot of people are pleased with the nominations, including your people.
Yes, I want to drop and F.I. Wara, man.
Yeah, they got nominations, which is amazing. And one of the series I featured in Nkewa also got nominated. So fingers crossed, yay, voting season. So congratulations to everyone nominated. Yes.
Fantastic. So talking about Nollywood, and my story is quite interesting as well. It's from Kannywood. That's the Kano.
The northern, yes.
Northern, yeah, the
northern
Kano
movie
film industry.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a young girl, because I just checked on Twitter. I just saw Mariam Booth trending and all of that. I'm wondering, okay, what's happening? So it turns out this young girl, she's 26 years old, and there's an alleged viral video, sex tape that was leaked and all of that. And so it's interesting. Why I chose this topic is because today we're talking identity. We know that, I think it has been proven over the years that people that want to, so-called, in quote, they want to explode in their career. Especially for people in that industry, in the
entertainment
industry, they usually go nude or whatever. So they look for sensational things to do to draw the attention. Because all of a sudden they're advertising what she's doing. She has a business, she has a spa, she has this, she has that.
Getting endorsements.
And nobody knew who Mariam
she was at this morning.
All of a sudden, Twitter is all over the place with Mariam.
So the young girl was trending for an alleged sex tape. So I'm happy we're talking identity today because how do you build an identity and what is a lasting identity? I think that's the question I would love to ask our guest when she comes in at the next segment. But first, Jane Egerton Idehen joins us after the break talking about building your career. Please stay with us.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start sharing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I really like it.
I can still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal eye.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
If you're just tuning in, this is What Are You Saying? #ways. Now, many people, especially women, are often unaware of the barriers they have created to hinder their success. Today, Jane Egerton Idehen will be talking with us about overcoming those barriers. She is the founder of Women and Career. She holds an engineering degree from the University of Nigeria and an MBA from Warwick Business School, UK, and an executive education from Harvard
Business School and Yale School of Management. She has a strong passion for promoting girls in STEM and ensuring women in STEM industries remain and grow their careers in that industry. Now remember, you can join the conversation. Twitter us at Plus TV Africa or at Ways to Africa 1 with the hashtag Ways, or you send us an SMS or WhatsApp 081 80384663. Thank you so much for joining us, Jane.
Wow.
Thank you for having
You're
me.
looking so very, very engineering.
What a profile. I was just going to say, that's a weighty profile.
Yeah.
Wow. But we dressed for the engineer part.
Right. You like, I mean, when I read your profile, I said, wow, okay, you are the perfect guest, you know, to talk about career for us, because, I mean, reading your profiles, understanding your background in engineering and all of that, and how you have transcended to the management and all of that, it makes absolute sense for you to be the one probably helping us to understand how we can build a career. So now in Nigeria, for instance, we hear people, like I studied physics, but I've never done anything in line with physics. And I'm sure it's like that for many of us, because JAM will just jam you, and you just look for a course to just study, and at the end of the day, probably end up in banking, or you see a medical doctor becoming an interior designer and all of that. So what happens to people that, you know, this career just comes and happens on them? You know, do you think those kind of people are able to make a proper impact, you know, as to building that career, no matter what, maybe even if it wasn't their choice? And if for those people that have started, for instance, their career, what happens to them if they say they want to change, and just probably, what should they look out for?
I think I like the way you said it, that, you know, what happens or what you do. That means there's an option, there's something you can do. Like I didn't, actually, I went to university to study industrial chemistry, but I changed in my second year. So what do you do with the choices? Like we say, you take your lemons, you turn them into lemonade. So most times and I think also another way to look at it, at the time you make that decision, you're just too young. You're like 16, 17, trying to decide what you're going to be for the next 30, 40 years. Yeah. You don't have all the information required to really make that call.
Okay. You know what will happen? Just give us a quick, just 1 minute. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Is it me, or does it feel like we're being spoiled for choice on topics to advocate on? There's so much going on this year.
I've spoken with a house help before, and I just asked, what's your name? She mentioned something. I said, so is that really your name? Then she laughed, and then she mentioned her name. You can imagine the indignity that you even take the name away from that 15-year-old. She has never stepped in a school.
Wow.
At age 50.
Yeah. So why would a graduate want to ride Okada?
But in Italy, they ride motorcycles up and down.
The rats that go over the grains, where they dry the grains, is the same gari you buy from the market. So it's
All right, thanks for staying with us. So you were saying that, you know, at the point of making that decision, and when it comes to career, the young girl is probably maybe too young, you know, to
just too young. They don't have the exposure to make that call, and they're trying to determine what their life is going to be in the next 20, 30 years. So I think you have to be kind to yourself. So it's okay to take what you have. Then as you evolve, you know, you get to know more. It's a journey. You decide to make your choices. A good way to look at this: what are you now passionate about? What are you skilled? What do you have a tendency to tilt towards? Because that's how I found myself doing what I used to do, or what I'm doing now. I wasn't a salesperson. I wasn't in management. I actually started as an engineer. But I ran a project that was so successful, and someone the department or so I ran the project for was so impressed and told me, you know what, you know my customers more than me. Why don't you come work for me as a salesperson? And I said, no way, I can't do sales. Like, I'm an engineer, I'm very techy. Like, what do you think sales is? It's what you've just done. You know how to connect with people, you know how to communicate, then that's how you build trust. Then after that, you know, every other thing falls in place. So I think just be kind. Like, let's be kind to this kid.
So was the sales thing before all the Harvard? Because I know Harvard.
Yeah, the sales
School,
was that's
Yale Business School.
There was all before. Actually, it's when I did sales, I got into management and my career. So at the time I started my career, I was going to be an engineer and probably some technical officer, some techie business. I didn't see anything about sales coming.
But it's interesting that you actually mentioned the fact that you're too young, because I feel that we have a trend in this country where people finish their degree, they go and do a master's, and I'm like, you don't even know what you want to do. So why do
be in a hurry?
Exactly, do a master's at that point. And when you were speaking, in fact, I just remember. It's funny we're talking about career, and I didn't remember my own story. I went into university to study electronic engineering, and my very first class, I was like, whoops. I love maths, I love physics, I love chemistry. But it was like the minute I was hit with electronics, I was like, this has nothing to do with physics, chemistry, or like. So I called my mother and I said, no, I can't do this. She says, but you must. And then, like you said, I was passionate about entertainment and all of that. So I studied PR and marketing. And then when it came to career, I ended up back where I started in the customer space. So it really does happen to you.
It does, because we can go on and on. Because my parents wanted me to study medicine. When you know the science, it's like, go for medicine. I'm like, I don't want to do medicine. So I decided that I want to do engineering. But even engineering, it wasn't like easy. Like my first physics test, I got 0, clean. Wow. It was 0. And at that point, the physics teacher told me to really think about if I wanted to do science. So you tend to see you tilt towards something or your skill set. You know, that's why I say pay attention. What do people say you're good at? What do people tell you do so easily, but you think that, no, there's nothing in it. You know, pay attention. What do you love? What would you do for free? You spend sleepless nights just doing it. Even in the office, you could be playing a role, but you find out you volunteer for some other thing. You know,
you do it excellently.
You do excellently, where you put a lot of passion, you study, you research, even probably more than the job you're being paid for. So just be more aware.
So are there chances that you could be passionate about more than one thing? Right? And that's the first question. Then the second one is, does your personality influence your career choice? Because I, for instance, I'm an introvert in an entertainment industry, which is like a really, really loud industry. I love what I do. But the going about it is like, sometimes I'm like, am I in the right place? But I love what I do. So does your personality influence your career?
I think your personality enhances. So it could, the strengths of your personality could play. Like for a salesperson, being an extrovert is a big thing. Literally, you are like the life of the party. The clients want you. But now when it's time to do maybe detailed work, routine work, you probably will shy away. But a more introverted person can keep still and do the routine, you know, to put the documents together, the presentation together. So what I've realized is that you play to your strength. Doesn't mean an introvert cannot be a salesperson. He will play to his strength. So he knows when there's a crowd, that will not work for him. But if it makes the audience smaller, he will play to his strength. So you can connect. So yes, just be aware of what your personality brings to the table.
So Oti was talking about work-life balance earlier on, and saying that it's impossible for you to have it all. But our coach disagrees. You know, what's your take on that?
First of all, I think work-life balance is, for me, I don't know if it exists. I don't think it really, I have to be very true to myself. I don't think it really exists. But I think what really is important to me is what Francis Frey says. So Francis Frey is a prof from Harvard. Dare to be bad. You can't be good at everything, but choose the things you'll be bad at. And then choose the things that are priority, then you'll be good at it. So we talk about career, we talk about marriage, we talk about your family life. So I could decide, and I think it's also in phases. So you see it's a journey. So there's a phase in my career.
Where you focused on?
It was all about the travels. Like I was really trying to hit it. I'm aiming for that. But of course I had to pay the price in all kinds of ways. My daughter was closer to the nanny than me, you know. My son, that was the price I was paying. But it got to a phase I'm like, no, I'm stepping back. No, we're not doing this. We're giving them the attention now. They are priorities. I'm like, I'll show up for every play. I'll volunteer in your class. You know, they want some teacher wants some mom to read. It's me. You know, I'll do whatever it takes to compensate. And that's why it's good in a marriage to have that discussion, because there's a phase my husband would like to have me more, but he can't have me, as much he would like to,
Okay. All right. So let's say that I've made the wrong choice. Yeah. Young, naive, and all of that, and I started a career, and now I'm feeling bored. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling stuck. What do I need to do to transcend beyond where? Because you mentioned something about passion earlier on, that the best way to also go is, your passion. So now I've identified my passion. How do I now start to build? Because sometimes it's completely extreme. Where you are and where you want to go to. So how do I start to build?
Okay, some say do the cold turkey. You just shut it one day. Some people do that, resign and go stay at home, and the next thing you see that the girl is doing poetry. This is some lady that was a lawyer.
Wow.
But I like the transitional approach. So I'm not aware that I'm in the wrong place. I don't want to do this, but I'll show up because they're paying me. 9 to 5, I'll show up. Then I start to make the plan. I do my research, certifications. I'm studying at night. I'm trying to network towards the industry I want to find myself, so I can build relations, understand how the industry works. Then you make a transitional move. I think then it's easier, because even when I show up, I say I want to intern. I don't want to intern that I'm black. I actually know something about your sector or your industry. But for some people, they feel like, what's the use? We do cold turkey, So if that works for you, especially if you saved up a lot of money, maybe you do cold turkey.
I was just going to say, because if you're living that 9 to 5 world with real money, you can't take those choices. I really wanted to talk about STEM. Because that's the part of your profile that really resonated with me. I think, and especially from the women point of view, there's a lot of focus. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and maths. So the importance of the girl child. And so what inspired you to move in that direction? Because, I know you're an engineer, but it's a complete shift. And you were talking about your daughter. So maybe share something about that.
So my daughter is a huge inspiration for what I do, because I actually got into STEM because I love the challenge. I just had a lady telling my mother that it was so difficult to study engineering. And people are failing, there are 10 people. I'm like, that's the one I want to do. It's difficult there. That's the one I want to go for. But I think, having been in that industry, you see very few women. You just realized 2 days ago when someone asked me, that was the only female in my office. This is me, so passionate about STEM. I'm the only female in my office. So my daughter, for me, becomes symbolic because she is my younger self. I see her as my younger self, and I want to give my younger self all the other things I would have given myself if I was more aware. So I think it's important that we don't downplay, or we don't let women sell themselves short because of our own cultural practices, or because of just our natural patriarchy as a nation. There's this whole thing about it's too hard, don't do it. You're a girl, just do something quickly and come and marry. Why are you trying to spend 6 years in engineering? And so can you climb a mast? This is for men. Those smart, intelligent boys, can you compete with them? And we found out that's all false. STEM is all about this. Is your ability to solve problems with your mind.
Run us through quickly what the Women and Career Initiative is about.
So Women and Career is all about supporting women to grow their careers. We give them tools, resources, whatever it is, mentoring. We give them all this to help them grow their careers, because we think it's really important for women to start defining their purpose if they choose to value their careers. And we also like to encourage young girls to start one. Because sometimes it's just information. Probably I would never have studied industrial chemistry if someone around me just believed that I could be an engineer. Because that's the only reason I went to industrial chemistry. I just thought, everybody's telling me so hard. Do I think I'm too smart that I'm going to pass this thing? So just change it.
Right, I'm going to ask you this question. I think it's very important to me. Is there anything like the perfect career? You have a good job and you love what you do, you're earning well in it, and everything is just all around rosy. Is there anything like that?
I think for me, the perfect career is your definition. What's perfect for you? Because I remember I was flying down from something I went to do. I landed at the airport like 12 midnight, had this very hard day. Couldn't even get a taxi to take me home. But I was happy. I was happy. I was fulfilled doing it. Because what I went to do was what makes me happy. And for me, that was the perfect career. But I'm stuck in the airport at midnight, trying to find my way home. My kids are all calling, when are you coming back, Mom? But I was happy. So I think it's your definition. That's why I'm trying to say most women should, let's be more self-aware. What's your definition of success? What is it?
So what I get from you right now is if it makes you fulfilled and happy.
If you are feeling very fulfilled,
and you will do it for free.
You are in the perfect.
Yeah.
We're in the perfect career.
I love what I do.
Thank you so much for coming. We would love to have you again, and probably would like to visit, any of your events when you're having. That would really be nice for us to watch. I'll probably go and learn some things. All right. So our next guest, Yetunde Bankole Bernard, joins us right after the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
My guest on this episode is one of the respected entertainment lawyers in Nigeria, Yemisi Falaye.
Creatives are a special breed. If you're not passionate about them and what you do for them, you're going to get frustrated. For now, there was nothing like law in the entertainment industry. People didn't know that they have to document their piece of work. I can do beats, let's do beats. I can sing, let's vibe, and that's it. Some people still don't get it. They will still wait to get into trouble before they come to you. Once you sign an agreement, you are absolutely bound by the provisions of the agreement. People think Zlatan is this crazy guy that just likes to make trouble. But on the contrary, Zlatan is a church boy.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Is it me, or does it feel like we're being spoiled for choice on topics to advocate on? There's so much going on this year.
I've spoken with a house help before, and I just asked, what's her name? She mentioned something. I said, so is that really your name? Then she laughed, and then she mentioned her name. You can imagine the indignity that you even take the name away from that 15-year-old. She has never stepped in a school.
Wow.
At age 15.
Yeah. So why would a graduate want to ride Okada?
But in Italy, they ride motorcycles up and down.
The rats that go over the grains, where they dry the grains, is the same Gary you buy from the market. So it's not that you in wherever you live, I don't know, the highbrow area,
Yes,
Banana
you can
Island.
still buy-
you
you don't
buy that
make your own Gary
It
after
will still
all.
come to you.
But the difference is, with
Unless you
Lassa
cook
fever,
it.
you're meant to cook it.
Yeah, but
really
people
well.
drink Gary.
Yes, that's
okay,
the
the rich
problem.
don't drink Gary.
No, I think beans and Gary.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
they go
know when
together.
No, you know,
I soaked
you
my
buy
Gary.
that
I
you
was
buy
in
that
boarding
one that they
school.
sell
That
in
they
small
sell.
bag.
All right, the way you think about yourself, the way you are viewed by the world, and the characteristics that define you is your identity, and it is important in building you, building your image, whether you are a career woman, stay-at-home woman, or a businesswoman. Our next guest, Yetunde Bankole Bernard, is the principal strategist at Yetunde Bankole Bernard Company, a personal brand and personality development agency. Her organization specializes in working with individuals and business owners that desire to define their identity, tell their unique story in order to inspire others, connect their visions as well. Now remember, you can join the conversation. Twitter us at Plus TV Africa or at Waste Your Africa 1 with the hashtag Waste, or you send us SMS or WhatsApp 081-803-84663. Not call, WhatsApp or SMS. Thank you so much for joining us here
Thank
today.
you.
We're really an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
You know what? Because we need to just jump right into the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, I heard you speak somewhere last week. You were talking about personal brand and identity. And for me, that was very, very distinct, because everywhere you go in Lagos, branding, my personal brand, and all of that, and it's flying all over the place. But there was something unique about what you said about identity and, the monopoly of the power of an identity. And I thought that was really, really interesting, and it would be nice for you to help us break that down and share with us why you believe so much in identity.
Oh, well, I think that the first thing really is that right now knowledge is cheap. You know what I mean? You can find anything online. And so a lot of people feel that they have all of the tools that they need. So when you hear things like personal branding, people tell you, oh, I'm a brand, oh, I'm a personal brand strategist, oh, I'm a this and I'm that, and all I need to do is so this and so, logo, color, dress this way, look this way, speak that way, and then you just turn around and everybody looks the same. So because we are all following a manual. So it's this way, this way, this way. But I have found over time, obviously because of my background is in marketing communications, and I have been in that industry for about 10 to 15 years, working primarily on brands and then translating to working with people. What I found is that the only thing that sets you aside or apart from the other person is you. And that means that you have to tell a unique story which is synonymous to you. And so it's really it's no longer about personal brand, it's about inner wisdom and carving whatever your inner voice is and being able to share your story in a way that resonates with another person. So it's no longer about color and style and look and feel
and complimentary cards.
It's now about memorability. How do I touch you in a way that I remember? I just remember I have met you before. Who are you? And the only way I do that is to offer value that only I can give. And that's if I know my worth and I know, for instance, I know my talents, my giftings, my abilities, the reason why people are friends with me, the reason why people are with me, the reason why somebody wants to talk to me instead of the other person. And if I'm able to put that always at the forefront, and I'm able to put my first foot forward. Now, it's no longer about first impressions, like I said. It's really, there's nothing like a first impression, because it's really, once I meet you, I need to be able to connect to you in a way that, there's an anchor. I just remember there's something
so you
about
live a memory.
You live a memory. So it's really about an experience. So it's about the experience that you give. It's no longer about a personal brand of color and type and feel and whatever. It's about the experience that you live, the taste that you live on my lips. That's what it really is about right now.
Awesome. Okay,
So I was just going to say, because I was waiting to understand how, because we had this argument, and I said, no, it's all about the brand. And I'm like, wow, there's perspectives that you absolutely need somebody else to open your mind to. But now that you've given us that insight, can you put a value to identity? Because the reason why people are so embracing this concept of personal brand is because, of course, after the personal brand comes the Naira and the Kobo. So when we move away from the concept of a brand and we now accept and embrace this idea of identity, how do you add value to that?
Okay, so here's the thing. We're not saying move away from personal brand. We're saying that this is overflogged. Like right now, you should know as a man, I mean, come on, you should know that you shouldn't wear a brown belt and black shoes. I mean, come on, you should know that. You should know that as a lady, if you're going out, at least have manicured nails. If your nails are chipped, wipe off the polish. It doesn't have to be half and half. You know? I mean, those things we're beyond that. In today's world, we're beyond that. I shouldn't be telling you this, and I mean, don't have lipstick on your teeth. It's not about that anymore. I mean, it's now about what are you offering me? What value do you bring? And that value is in your talents, your abilities, your giftings, your skills. So it's unique to you. How do you see your world? How do you take in information? When I'm around you, what do I feel? So what's the energy? Are you that person that wants, do you have a presence? Have you mapped your inner power? Do you understand yourself? Do you have, those are the things that we're talking about. We're no longer talking about
and those kind of things would bring income, because
of course,
if you
because once I have an experience of you, you want more. I want more. I'm like, who is this? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. So for instance, let me give you an example. So I heard the lady and you guys were talking about introverts and extroverts and things like that. And I just wanted to, add a bit there. So there's a difference between the way that we look at it in psychology and the way that we talk. For instance, there's introversion and extroversion. Do you know what that is? It's just simply the way we take in information, energy. So for instance, if you are, so there are preferences. We all have two of those things. There are preferences. Either I prefer this way or I prefer that way. There's nothing bad in. So for instance, if I'm extroverted, I like to get my energy from being around people, from bouncing ideas off a lot of people, from being with, noise and, music, a lot of people. I like all of that stuff. But if I am introverted, I'm in a world of ideas, in a world of images, and, I want to internalize. I just want to talk about it to one person, not necessarily peace and quiet. It's just in my own world is like of images, of ideas, of thoughts. So that's who I am. So the other person that is extroverted gets the same result from being in that space, from me that gets the same result. So there's nothing wrong in being introverted, and introversion is not shyness and it's not timidity. No. So we always say, I'm shy, but I'm introverted. No, you are not, honey. You have not yet identified what is your core, what is your essence, what is your truth, what is your beauty. How do you always present your beauty as the first thing when you interact with someone? That's where we're going. So it's about presenting your best self, your most deserved self. Yeah. All the time.
Something. Wow. So let's talk about publicity stunt. I'm in the entertainment industry, obviously, as an actor, and there's this Mariam Booth is trending right now because she leaked a naked video of herself, and then there was a teen star who leaked a video, and right now she's like the rave of the moment. So let's talk about publicity stunts. Does it really help improve your status? Is it something that, how do I put it? And does it work?
And those identity, I said I was going to ask her this question. The identity you create from those kind of stunts, does it last?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Who are you? What do you want? So it's really about what you want, what you're trying to do at the end of the day. And what happens is that as humans, we evolve. So people should not feel like this is who I am and so this is who I'll always be. You can evolve, and it's okay to evolve. However, so when you talk about all these publicity stunts and things like that, today's world thrives on nuisance, unfortunately. So yes, today's world, value has lost its meaning in so many ways. So what we considered as valuable before may not longer be valuable. However, we are still back to what do you want, who are you, what are you trying to do? So when you say, does it work for you? Is this who you want to be? What exactly are your values? What are you trying to achieve with this? Is this somewhere that you really want to go? And so that means that somebody that is able to take on all of that, okay, if that's what you want to take it on. If that's the identity you want to carry on, or you want people to perceive about you, then that's fine. That's for you. So it's really
a definition.
It's really very personal.
Awesome.
At the end of the day.
Okay, talking about personal, I was arguing with Oti. I said, I don't think it's everybody that needs an identity.
We all have one. It's not a matter of you need. No. You all have one.
Well, because they are very, very strong. So we're talking brand now.
Okay.
So they're
brand
very, very strong.
identity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a brand identity. We're talking that. Okay. Is it everybody that must really have a brand identity?
Okay. So you think?
So I am thinking
not everybody needs
it's not everybody that needs it.
And now that you even talked about identity, maybe we should say that not everybody needs a brand, but everybody certainly needs an identity. Because even if you are in a career, you want to be known for something. So that's my point of view. I think you need to be known for something. So if you are true to your word, you're a man of a woman of integrity, that goes before you. So that is the value that you bring to the table. So I think that absolutely you have to have it. So that's where we were arguing.
Oh yes, you do. Because guess what? How do you, as humans, what we want really is acceptability. We want to be honored. We want to be valued.
That is true.
And so as human beings. And you cannot be that if you do not know who you are and if you don't always put that on the table. And that really is the identity we're talking about. So, I would not relate to you from a place of value if I don't perceive any. And here's the thing, the people that relate to you, they know what they see. Of course. They know, but you know what happens? That's how people get taken advantage of, and you feel, I have been, I'm not getting what I'm worth. I'm not, because you have not stepped up to your greatness. So
how do we now find this identity, own it, and experience, and probably explore the possibilities of coming to that point of personal power where you now know that this is who I am?
Okay. So apart from the fact that I don't want to blow my own trumpet by saying,
I was just going to my question was going to be that if I come and book an appointment, I come and sit in front of you,
you're going to pay a lot of money, baby.
Hey, okay, let me put that aside. But they're easy tips. When we talk about self-awareness, it's really it's not rocket science. So self-awareness is always asking a question when you go through whatever experiences. Asking a question. So somebody asks you for something. Why? I would go back and say, why me and not her? So there must be something that this person is seeing. So I interrogate it. Somebody says, oh, you did this so I was so impressed about what you did. You just say thank you. No. Go a step further. What exactly did I do? What exactly did you like about that? So you get that feedback and you're like, okay, so I need to improve on this. And it helps you to begin to own your own power. And over time, so it's like a validation. When somebody says this, you recognize it and you say, okay, this person has said this before. I need to work on. It's like focusing on your strengths and just growing those strengths. So I always believe, I'm that person that says all this strength, weakness, focus on the strengths. The weaknesses will go, because guess what? Your strength can be a weakness, your weakness can be a strength. So it depends on how you look at it and how you channel your energies to it. So it's really about you making a conscious effort to interrogate your processes, to interrogate your experiences, to interrogate your relationships, your beliefs, your thoughts, your ideals, everything. Every time you feel like I'm evolving. So why was I upset about this thing? Why did this thing really excite me? What is happening to me right now? To become more aware, more conscious of yourself, of your inner power, your inner voice. Every time that you have a thought, interrogate it. Why am I thinking that? What happened? Hey, was it because this person said this? It helps you to understand yourself better, and it also helps you to manage your own emotions, to manage your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and those things build personal power. So next time, for instance, you are more centered. So next time somebody throws something at you, it's not really, you're like, I know this thing. Okay, this is what I need to do.
You know what, I sincerely can connect with a lot of things that you're saying, because lately I was telling Owa in a conversation the other time, I've been being very deliberate about developing myself. I keep telling her that I'm eager to meet the higher version of myself. I can't wait. So the thing you said about being conscious of your inner voice and always questioning when people tell you, oh really, what exactly? I started doing that, and honestly I can testify it makes a whole lot of changes, especially being conscious of your inner voice. It helps you to brand yourself. Oh, you're not able, no, I'm this and I'm able to do this because I know that I'm capable of doing this. I think it really helps.
The other thing is also growing your abilities, your skills, your giftings, and then because a lot of people have asked me, identity coach, what do I need you for? And I say, for instance, when you want to go to your next level, connect them to giving you value. So they're like, okay, this thing, but if you're not able to bring those things to bear as your competencies, as your natural innate abilities, then how does anybody even identify that you can give value in that area?
Awesome. So what do you think about Nigeria as an identity?
What do you mean as an identity?
How? Let me rephrase it. Okay. we already have an identity in Nigeria, globally, right? So how do you think the people living in Nigeria can build an identity separate from Nigeria?
The worldview.
Nigeria, yes.
You want me to answer truthfully?
Yeah, truthfully.
Okay, so I think that Nigeria in itself is in a limbo. Nigeria doesn't understand Nigeria. And Nigerians need a total, we need like a whole paradigm shift. We have been abused, hit left, right, center. So even the average Nigerian doesn't really know who he is. So you saying being somebody else, how are you even going to be somebody else when who you are safe, you're still struggling with it. So I mean, the nation in itself needs a whole shift, a whole program, overhauling. What do we stand for? What are our values? What do we stand for as a nation? Who is the Nigerian? So I can say who is the American. I can say, so that's why you are proud of certain things, because you have sort of like an identity, and it's important, honestly, to have an identity, because without that, when you talk about identity, if you don't have one, it makes you feel lost. It makes you feel a bit, you're not sure, you're unsure of yourself, and that's what is happening. We don't really have a Nigerian dream. What is the Nigerian vision? What is the Nigerian dream? What's our goal?
It's about the next meal.
So it's about survival. The next. That's why we're all, going against each other because we are thinking of, I need to survive. So what's the Nigerian vision? What's the Nigerian dream?
So if you had someone right now, just in final closing, struggling with identity crisis, what would you say to that person?
Apart from coming to see me, what would I say to the person? I would say slow down and internalize. What exactly do you want?
Thank you. What do you want? Thank you. Thank you so much. On that note, it's a wrap. Thank you so much, Yetunde Bernard. Now, in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. The biggest barrier for women is the thought that they can have it all. Do you agree with that? The biggest barrier is that they think they can have it all. Do you think you agree with that? You can't have it all. Okay. All right, nobody can have it all. Okay. All right, so watch a repeat broadcast tomorrow at 8 p.m., 3 p.m. tomorrow, and catch us live tomorrow at 8 p.m. So we'll see you guys. Have a lovely evening.
My guest on this episode is one of the respected entertainment lawyers in Nigeria, Yemisi Falaye.
Creatives are a special breed. If you're not passionate about them and what you do for them, you're going to get frustrated. For now, there was nothing like law in the entertainment industry. People didn't know that they have to document their piece of work. You know, I can do beats, let's do beats. I can sing, let's vibe, and that's it. Some people still don't get it. They will still wait to get into trouble before they come to you. Once you sign an agreement, you are absolutely bound by the provisions of the agreement. People think Zlatan is this crazy guy that just likes to make trouble. But the contrary, Zlatan is a church boy.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Political parties don't sue Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and sake of them deregister political parties. And thousands don't they displace sake of extremist activities for Burkina Faso. And on top of the foreign scene, Yemen Al-Qaeda leader Al-Rami died as a U.S. strike Hamaram. My country people, you do well, so you join us inside news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. And this one, I then told you we want some give honor until this very o'clock. My name, Nadestiny Momo. The Supreme Court on Friday supports the conviction of a before governor of Taraba, Jolin Yame. The court for two judgments when then do for two panels. He answered Justice Adebukola Banjoko of the High Court for the Federal Capital Territory inside Guru, Abuja. They right to convict both men for the evidence when the prosecution, when they led by Rotimi Jacobs, SAN, bring. The judgment today for the appeals when Yame filed against the judgment for the High Court of the FCT and when then give on May 30, 2019. For the May 30 judgment, the trial court convicted Yame for 27 out of the 41 counts when he charged when the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, filed against him. And during by July 2007, the trial court sentenced him to 28 years imprisonment without any option for fine. And Mike Zekome, when he be cancelled to Mohamed Adoke before Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, he answered the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission don't carry in clients. Go to Federal Medical Center inside Abuja. Adoke day for detention even as he meets Bill Condi and when the Federal Capital Territory High Court grant him during by January 30. And EFCC sama accused for the before minister head say he abused office for the OPL 245 and bail as he wonder why the anti-graft agency never obeyed the order. The senior advocate of Nigeria SAN say inclined to continue detention don't cause a carry do of inclined and a no be charge. The Clean Foundation don't say they no put hand for the worker of the Administrative Criminal Justice Act nationwide. The Oga Patapata of the foundation, Dr. Benson Olugbo, for one public presentation for summary findings when they monitor the worker for the administration of a Criminal Justice Act for 30 states of the Federation and show say they never meet the expectation for the act. And Dr. Olugbo, they call for training and retraining of law enforcement officers to understand wetin dey the worker of the act.
Despite the passage of this Administration of Criminal Justice Act, its effective implantation into the national criminal justice system has remained slow, and the age-long challenges in the criminal justice process for which the Act was enacted still persist. While concerted efforts are being made from various quarters, states and non-state actors alike, the need to sustain momentum on the advocacy necessitated Clean Foundation and other partners to design a follow-up project targeted at strengthening accountability and transparency in the criminal justice system in Nigeria through sustained advocacy and monitoring of implementation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. What we've also noticed actually is that the Nigerian police personnel requires a lot of training and retraining in terms of gathering of evidence and also using that evidence in actually a court of law. And that is actually one of the key things we have done in our interaction with police personnel.
And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, they don't draw ear, give politicians when they do anyhow inside Edo and Ondo states. Make them not put mind for the release of the timetable for the governorship election to bring plenty tension inside the states. The commission Sama better year and say make nobody see the election date when they release as signal to take a start the recruitment plus abbing of thugs plus hoodlums before the elections. INEC National Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu is somebody one for one press conference to take announce the dates for the election and when they fix it during by September 19 for Edo State and October 10 for the Ondo State as it is hot. The commission concerned fit to follow the palaver of a political tension inside Edo State where the governor Godwin Obaseki, they won, say they do wahala with the before governor and the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, ABC, Adams Oshiomhole. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, don't deregister 74 political parties. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu says 75 parties no meet their criteria according by the 2010 Electoral Act. As then take amend them and say better than the registered 74 as it take yan. And Nigeria get less than 20 registered political party when they fit to contest for future elections.
The Commission has determined that 16 political parties have fulfilled the requirements for existence based on Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended. 75 political parties did not satisfy the requirements of the fourth alteration to the Constitution. However, one of the political parties, the Action People's Party, filed a suit in court and obtained an order restraining the Commission from deregistering it. Consequently, the party remains registered pending the determination of the case by the court. The new political party, Boot Party, BP, registered by court order after the 2019 general election, will continue to exist. Accordingly, 74 political parties are hereby deregistered. With this development, Nigeria now has 18 registered political parties.
And the Inter-Party Advisory Council for Obodo Naija, IPAC, he say decision from the Independent National Electoral Commission to take a deregister 74 political parties without say they observe due process plus a provision for the law. And similarly, the Allied Congress Party for Obodo Naija ACPN yarn say the registration exercise na attempt to take a preempt the outcome for the appeal with a file against INEC for the Supreme Court. The national chairman of ACPN, Ganiyu Galadima, inside one statement where they issued inside Abuja, he yarn say the registration say it dey in very, very bad faith, plus they acceptable to ACPN. And the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, during by Thursday, don't blame the northern elite for say they allow some youth to float waiting in they call Operation Shege Kafasa. And in yarn the regional leaders to caution the youths. The Sultan yarn for one northern security meeting inside Kaduna during by Thursday. And the coalition for northern groups don't unveil the symbol for the security outfit during by Wednesday inside Kaduna. Sultan Yan say in Siam for television and the media give them very, very good attention. And now the elders allow the youth to go forward as a remark. And Abubakar still expressed concern on top of the 50,000 orphans for the region, sake of the Boko Haram insurgency. And the bill to take a provide autonomy to local government councils nationwide, it don't pass the second reading on top of the floor for the House. And the bill where they expected to alter provide for the 1999 Constitution to take a give for financial plus administrative autonomy to local government councils plus a uniformity for the tenure across the country. Say it is sponsored by Honorable Mansour Soro. Honorable Soro, he tell fellow lawmakers to support the bill. Say the bill go aid infrastructural development across the 774 local government area inside Obodo.
Ajax autonomy as the state governments interfere in their elections. Administratively, local governments Ajax independence as the state governments determines their staff recruitment, postings, and discipline. Unless this Honorable House address this critical issue as bravely as it demands, Nigerians living in the communities will continue to live in desperate conditions, making their lives solitary, poor, nasty, and brutish.
My appeal is a constitutional matter. We still require the said assemblies. That the intention of the bill is to bring good governance across the country. Possibly it's a matter of choice of words.
And still for front, plenty people don't catch a virus on top of Japan, quarantine, a cruise ship. This and other story when we show back. And inside Obodo Africa news, some 600,000 people don't they internally displaced inside the Burkina Faso, sake of armed extremists. And they don't run come out from north and eastern region for the country to neighboring province. And their host will be fellow citizens they face poverty where they affect their health plus education service. The UNHCR don't give a shelter plus a basic relief item as most of the displaced don't run empty-handed. And the center north province for country, they shelter most of the displaced people. And they estimate that 28,000 more shelters we then still need and right about now.
My guest on this episode is one of the respected entertainment lawyers in Nigeria, Yemisi Falaye.
Creatives are a special breed. If you're not passionate about them and what you do for them, you're going to get frustrated. For now, there was nothing like law in the entertainment industry. People didn't know that they have to document their piece of work, I can do beats, let's do beats. I can sing, let's vibe, and that's it. Some people still don't get it. They will still wait to get into trouble before they come to you. Once you sign an agreement, you are absolutely bound by the provisions of the agreement. People think Zlatan is this crazy guy that just likes to make trouble. But the contrary, Zlatan is a church boy.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
In a world of overwhelming voices, where everyone has something to say,
It is important that we bring the core issues to the fore.
as we lend our voices to inspire, inform, influence, and provoke your thoughts and action.
We want to hear these issues and know what you are saying. This is not just women talking.
It is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
We take on topics some may consider taboo and want to sweep under the carpet.
We understand that what touches one touches all.
We know you have a lot to say, so let's hear you.
And inside foreign news, the U.S. military don't kill Al-Qaeda leader Qasem al-Rimi, the jihadist leader, where they claim responsibility for the deadly shooting for Naval Air Station Pensacola inside Florida, and where 3 American sailors have been killed by 1 Saudi aviation trainee. According by the U.S. President Donald Trump, he ordered the killing for al-Rimi and during one counter-terrorism operation inside Yemen. And even though say in no yarn on top of when the killing shell in yarn say the U.S. plus their allies, the safer sake of al-Rimi die. I want to fit to face the death penalty. And Christians have been charged last year from a state court where in capital murder trial day inside the early stage. And Christians go face one separate trial inside federal court. John Bash, the U.S. attorney for the Western District of Texas, tell reporters after the grand jury indictment. And the news where they come next now, a business story. Don't go anywhere, but they come back just now. Up next, World Bank don't caution Ghana sake of too much buru-buru. That's now our business report after this break. And inside business story, the World Bank don't draw ear give Ghana against the plenty buru-buru for matter when they take a say the country they risk to join high debt distressed country if they no use their head. And this one they come one day after the country fit to raise a US $3 billion Euro bond when it be 5 times oversubscribed. And the International Monetary Fund don't summer one give the nation say then they high risk to day inside debt distressed country. As the IMF take yarn, they say the debt sustainability analysis they driven by debt service to revenue when it passed the threshold throughout the forecast horizon. And they don't raise a concern when they join the money when they borrow and when they say then they use them eat for belay instead of make them use them for capital project or investment. The country organ of World Bank, Pierre Frank, when he yarn giving media after one courtesy call for the Speaker of Parliament, say although every country go need to borrow, but they must shine their eye where for the money when then they borrow. And Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov yarn on Thursday say Russia they support one waka to take a dip in OPEC plus global oil and supply curbs. And this one had to take compensate for the one drop inside demand when the coronavirus caused. One technical panel when the summer advice give the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and their allies, and when it did about the new virus. And when it don't work out from China, go plenty places, and it don't drop energy demand. And still for front on Top Plus TV Africa News, now our roundup on top entertainment plus sports news. We'll come back just now.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We have 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. You know, Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
Is it me, or does it feel like we're being spoiled for choice on topics to advocate on? There's so much going on this year.
I've spoken with a house help before, and I just asked, what's your name? She mentioned something. I said, so is that really your name? Then she laughed, and then she mentioned her name. You can imagine the indignity that you even take the name away from that figure.
No, I think Prince and Gary. They go together.
No, you buy that one that they sell in small bar.
And on top entertainment, Chris Brown don't collect order to take a pay sanctions to the woman where they sue am sake of one claim on top of rape for in Tanzania, California house inside the 2017. According by court document, one Los Angeles judge don't tell the singer to pay $2,500 to the unidentified accuser when they set date for Brown. Just days after Chris' lawyer been filed motion to drop him as their client. And they insist to say in no agree to meet